Okay, Mr. Mayor, we are live and ready.
Okay, we go ahead and call the meeting to order. This is a regular meeting of the Seldovia City Council, Monday, January 26th, 2026. Time is 6:02 p.m. And we'll go ahead and do roll call. Let's see, Langbart, she is absent, correct?
She should be joining us shortly.
Okay. Coleman,
Here.
Taylor,
Here.
Peyton,
Here.
Barber,
Here.
Keithley.
Here.
Okay, currently we have 5 out of 6 in attendance, with Langbart currently absent. She should be joining us. If you go ahead and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance.
The flag of the United States of America, and through the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, that'll take us down to item D, agenda. Sorry, I didn't have my mic on. That'll take us down to item D, agenda approval. I'll go ahead and look for a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
I make a motion to approve it.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Barber to approve tonight's agenda with a second by Coleman. Any further discussion on the agenda before we vote? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote on the approval of tonight's agenda. All those in favor, Coleman,
Aye.
Taylor,
Aye.
Peyton,
Aye.
Barber,
Aye.
and Keithley. Okay, motion passes with 5 in the affirmative and 1 absent. It'll take us to item E, consent agenda. All items under the consent agenda are approved with a single motion, no discussion, and 1 vote. A council member may request to remove any item for discussion and a separate vote. Any items removed from the consent agenda will be placed under new business. Tonight's consent agenda consists of item 1, which is the approval of the minutes from the regular meeting, January 12th, 2026. Those can be found on page 5. No ordinances, no resolutions. There is 1 action memorandum. That's item number 4. That's action memorandum 26-01, City Council Statement of Non-Objection for the renewal of package store license 1019 S&C LLC DBA Seldovia Liquor Store. And that's found on page 7 of your packet. Does any member wish to remove any item for further discussion tonight? Okay, hearing none, we'll go ahead and look for a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Keithley to approve tonight's consent agenda with a second by Barber. Any further discussion on the consent agenda before we vote? Okay, hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote on the approval of tonight's consent agenda. All those in favor, Coleman,
Aye.
Taylor,
Aye.
Peyton,
Aye.
Barber, and Keithley. Okay, motion passes 5 in the affirmative and 1 absent. All right, that'll take us down to item F, mayoral proclamations, none. Item G, public presentation prior notice, and it looks like we have our representative, Sarah Vance, on with us tonight.
Good evening.
Hello, how are you?
Doing well. I was just getting through to make sure all my video and audio was great. I had hoped to come over and see you in person, and Jack extended an invitation to me, a little while ago, but with all the crazy weather and the wind that we've been experiencing in the bay, I was not able to get over. So we will have to figure out when I can come, and hopefully weather permitting will be sooner than later. So I look forward to whatever whatever we need to do to make sure that I'm up to speed on everything with the city. But I wanted to provide you with a legislative update of our first week of session and then answer any questions.
Perfect.
So we started our first day of session last Tuesday, almost a week ago, and the majority decided to start off with a bang by having a joint session to override SB 113, the highly digitized business tax. The governor had vetoed this and said there were concerns with the date and the implementation for regulations and other things. And I voted no on overriding that. I have concerns about the implementation of that, but ultimately the indirect cost that this could potentially have on Alaskans. That's my overall concern about any changes we do in tax structures right now, is how these costs will then be put onto Alaskans. We've seen that. I know there in Seldovia, you do a lot of online shopping, as do I, and we've seen prices increase. And just being able to get goods to us is a challenge. And I want to make sure that Alaskans are not going to be bearing the burden of these corporate tax increases. I do know that the talk of the hallways in Juneau right now is that the governor's package that he has introduced is a similar bill on this exact topic. So we will be revisiting this legislation again. And I'm going to be finding out what the nuanced differences are. I keep an open mind to whatever revenue measures that we can have, but I want to make sure that it's going to be smart for Alaska, building our economy, and not something that Alaskans will have to bear, because at this point, everyone is being squeezed. So before session started, there was a lot of talk around the International Pacific Halibut Commission and a proposal that was submitted to reduce the halibut recreational bag limit down to 1. And so I wrote a letter and was able to have a number of my colleagues join on to that letter, saying that we believe that the Halibut Commission did not hold the authority to be taking up that proposal, because they are not supposed to be addressing domestic halibut allocation issues. This would affect every Alaskan. The commissioner of the Department of Fish and Game wrote a letter to NOAA and said that he didn't believe they had the authority. Senator Dan Sullivan did the same. And that meeting was conducted a few days ago, and they did in fact refer that to the North Pacific Fisheries Management, which holds the authority over that. So that was a win. Hundreds of Alaskans provided public testimony against that proposal, and that's something that would impact every Alaskan, because the proposal was so wide sweeping that it impacted every halibut fishery across Alaska. So I consider that a victory of defending our sovereignty as Alaskans over our fish in our waters, but specific to Alaskans being able to provide food for themselves. And halibut is one of those that we really enjoy in our district. We also had the Alaska Young Fishermen Summit here in Juneau the past couple days, and I was able to be on the roundtable with the Fisheries Committee. I've been a member of that committee my entire tenure, and we heard from young fishermen, and I was able to have conversations about some of the challenges facing them to be able to just enter into the industry, and was able to provide some of our insight. And I always love it when the young fishermen come, because it offers a fresh perspective of the issues that have been going for quite some time. I introduced a couple of bills, new bills for pre-file, and then I'm working on more. And one of them that has gotten a little bit of attention is House Bill 254, the Fair Tax Act. Chris Story has talked about it all summer on his radio program. He did some articles on it. And what it does, it caps the annual increases to assessed property values at 5%, saying that if there is going to be an increase, that it needs to be documented in writing of why there were improvements, improvements that were made to the property that justifies an increase in the assessed value of the property. I'm having reports. Anchorage just had their property assessments come in, and people are saying that they've had up to a 400% increase. And one of the things that I'm wanting to do is just provide a realistic approach for Alaskans to know that they have surety that they're going to still be able to afford to live in their homes. I've had seniors tell me that they don't know that with the property assessments continuing to go up, that they'll be able to stay in the home that their husband built for them years ago. And I want to do what I can to protect everyday Alaskans to be able to live and work here in our communities. And the increase in property assessments that doesn't feel like it has a jurisdiction has gotten a lot of concern from people. So I will hope that that will get some movement in this legislature. Today, I had a bill hearing on House Bill 47 in Judiciary Committee, and that is a bill that criminalizes generated obscene child sexual abuse material. It's the AI generated images that harm children. You've seen a lot of headlines from the FBI that they've been prosecuting a lot of people over these crimes, but our state laws do not have anything on the books that can prosecute for AI generated images. And this bill cures that. So it will likely be moving to the House floor by the end of the week, or at least moving out of judiciary by the end of the week, and potentially on the House floor next week, depending on what our calendar looks like. And this is one that we've worked on in a bipartisan manner for a couple of years, and hoping that this one gets traction because our kids deserve to have this justice to protect them against these crimes. Let me see. We had the governor's State of the State address on Thursday, and he talked about the variety of things, changes over his tenure that I've seen. And one that I want to talk about that I feel proud to be a part of was to helping reduce the crime. 8 years ago, our property crimes and our crime across Alaska was just out of control, and people were at their wits' end for the property crimes and things that were being done against them. And we were able to repeal the soft on crime bill. People called it the catch and release bill, and reenact stronger laws that kind of did a course correction over previous legislation that was implemented wrongly, is how it was told us. And crimes have dropped about 40%. In that, he did talk about how they have recent reports about the increase in crime in Anchorage, and how Anchorage proportionally has crime that's worse than Chicago and LA and New York. And it's mind-boggling. And I encourage you to read up on that, because when we all go grocery shopping on our big runs or appointments, we often need to go to Anchorage. And those of us who've grown up here for a long time have seen the changes. The governor's office is working with the municipality of Anchorage on a way to work together to address this issue. And that to me is good news. It's long overdue because it impacts all of Alaska. And he also talked about some of the other measures that have recently been introduced for legislation. I will be looking at those as they move through a committee and be able to better assess that in the coming days. But I will be 100% honest with you. I have a lot of reservation with the changes in the tax bills and around the permanent fund dividend. And so I will have to be open-minded as I approach this, but I am not making any promises to anyone on these important pieces of legislation because they are significant. And finally, a bill that I've been running for many years that is getting more and more support is House Bill 29. And this is the school healthcare pooling bill. I've talked to you about this before. I met with Nils Andreasen of AML about a month ago, and he says that they support this bill. I am so pleased to hear that. Last year, I worked to improve the bill, and I had a conversation with the managers of Alaska Care and said, how can we improve this to make it actually work? And so they gave me some recommendations, and I implemented those in a sponsor substitute that is available online for you to see. And I am just waiting for this to be heard and moved, because this bill has the potential to save our school district in between $6 and $8 million a year. And I received that number from our school's finance director, who was looking at premiums that the school district pays versus the state of Alaska, probably 3 years ago now. And that was the estimate at the time. So it's a potential to have a positive impact on our education budget, freeing up dollars to focus on the classrooms, and also freeing up the administration to focus on what they need to do best. So that's one that I really, really want to hope that see it come to pass, because it would help so many communities, but it also allows municipalities the option of joining the state's healthcare program, so that you as a smaller municipality are not having to go out in the marketplace and shop for that yourself. So lots of moving pieces. I feel like this session has only been going less than a week, and it feels like it's 50 miles an hour already. So I know I've just kind of hit on quite a few things at once, but I will end here and answer any questions you have.
Great. Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate the update. Yeah, lots of stuff happening early on. I know you guys are just getting started down there. We'll open it up to anyone on council that has any questions, comments.
Thank you, Sarah, for all the information. I know what sparked me the other day, and being somebody who's newer to Alaska still, just only being here for almost 4 years, I don't know the history of, but hearing that the governor was talking about a seasonal sales tax statewide coming from a small community that already has that, and somebody who is really conservative when it comes to tax thinking, but has been very forward thinking on that as being a part of that the last few years here and seeing how it's helped our community. And I spoke at AML at a roundtable a couple years ago about how it worked well for us. But I know that just like sparked me really quick, because we just had a conversation that the borough is looking at that as well. And just really kind of helping to be the voice of that. It can be a great tool, but it's already in action in places like Seldovia, who we have the highest sales tax in the summer with that at 9.5%. And so although it works well to bring in funds, it could actually hurt a lot of our smaller communities and places that are already using it, because with each of those layers that gets added on, we are going to be facing having to cut and not see those funds that have been helping us directly. So as you're in those conversations, that would be my ask, is bringing that thought forward for everyone to think about.
I appreciate that. Just know that those conversations are already being had.
Fabulous.
Thanks, Ashley. Anyone else?
Sarah, I looked there, you said we had a 40% reduction in crime in Anchorage. Is that correct?
Statewide from what it
Statewide.
was.
And what contributes to the reduction?
Well, a number of years ago, the state passed a crime bill called SB 91. And that's what kind of unleashed a lot of the rampant property crimes and other crimes that we were seeing in the state for a long time. And Alaskans said, you need to stop this. Repeal SB 91, make the course correction. That was one piece. So in 2019, we did pass Senate Bill 54, which peeled back a lot of the provisions that created an open door policy that released a lot of people who should have been behind bars for a lot of the crimes. We tightened up on property crimes. There were a lot of car thefts at that time, and also changed the discretion that judges had. It was too fluid at the time, and we made a significant change. But the other things that has happened over the course of these last 7 years is increasing the number of troopers and VPSOs that are being funded and available. They changed the recruitment, how they were recruiting troopers, and offered them bonuses and created a better, more flexible schedule for them. And then the VPSO program has been greatly upgraded, and Seldovia has been a great recipient of that. And as a prime example, as you may know, for a long time, the VPSO program was seen, was not treated very fairly. They were kind of an add-on under the Alaska State Troopers, and people didn't know how to deal with them. And they were kind of a grant program. And then a few years ago, there was Commissioner Cockrell said, we have to do better. And he came in and elevated the respect and the treatment of the VPSO program with the state troopers. And so when you have more trooper presence, when they feel that they are being championed, I think that makes a difference in the law enforcement to be able to do their job as well. But we also had the law behind them. So there were a few things that were done that I think led to the decrease in crime overall. It's definitely not going to be one thing, but an increased trooper presence and VPSO presence has made a difference.
Thank you, Sarah. Good answer.
Thanks, Jack. Anyone else? Any questions, comments? Heidi, you got anything?
Thank you, Representative Vance, for joining us. I'm Heidi Gagel, City Manager here in Seldovia. I'm hoping to get a chance to speak with you in the future. I just want to touch base about upcoming budget discussions and specifically DOT. I don't know if you've heard, but we are in the process of securing the uplands lease, part of the uplands lease for Jackaloff Bay Dock, and that's been, yeah, it's huge for us. Except part of that comes with the responsibility of cleaning that area up, and this has been a really long-standing problem. So we are hoping to at least get some support from DOT. I don't know if there's ways that they can help with the impound process. We're looking at some different ways to clean up some of the other debris in the area, but trying sooner than later to clean that area up. And it would be a huge boon for the community if we could have that support. So while I know you're not directly overseeing DOT, I know that you have a great working relationship with them, and I would love to have a chance to chat about that in the future, along with some other just the DOT initiatives that we would love to work with.
Absolutely, Heidi. I'm so glad that you continue to work on this issue, because you know that I started that years ago to remove the abandoned vehicles in our district and to clean that up. And DOT did make an effort and was able to get funding to get some cleaned up. But with the land jurisdiction with DNR, it didn't get everything like you and I had hoped. So I'm glad that you pursued that for the city. Just call my office, let me know whatever you need, whatever dials I need to turn. I will be there the best that I can and help you, because this is so important. And I don't have to rehearse why this area is important to Seldovia, but I'm excited to see that. And we'll help you, whatever conversations we need to have, letters of support, whatever it is you need, I'm here for you.
Thank you so much. I look forward to those conversations.
Sir, I had a quick question. This was a little closer to home for you and Homer. Is there, and I haven't seen much, I've been a little out of pocket on the local stuff over there, but any updates on the parking situation at the Homer Airport with the lot across? I haven't heard much of that. Is that still in DOT's hands or the city's hands?
It's still in DOT's hands. And that's a good reminder to me to bring it up again, because DOT was seeking the city of Homer to take that up, to manage it, just like they manage the long-term parking near the terminal. The city of Homer was changing their city manager at the time, And I think it kind of got lost in that process. So I can see if that's something that they want to pursue again, because meanwhile, you still need that parking. But thank you for that reminder. I will reach out and see what we can find out.
Yeah, I think it's already been going on a couple of years now since it was cleaned up. And so
Yes.
I thought it would be, well, I know how fast DOT works. So
And last time I was in the Smoky Bay parking lot in December, it was full. There wasn't any parking
Right,
left, and
right.
that's December, so it's a need.
appreciate you looking into that. Thank you. All right. Anyone else? Last chance. All right. Well, thank you, Sarah, for the update tonight. Much appreciated. Yeah, hopefully next time we can get you over here in person. That would be fantastic to see you again. And yeah, good luck here and coming up with the rest of your session here. I know you're going to have a lot going on. So
Yes, and I just want to give a shout out to Liz. She's been great in keeping me updated on the comprehensive plan, the email updates, and making sure that I'm connected. So I want you to know how much I appreciate her work, and look forward to coming over. It's always a good time in Seldovia.
fantastic. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. All right. Well, enjoy the rest of your evening. And thanks again for taking the time tonight.
All right, have a good night.
Okay. You too. Thanks. All right, well, that was a good update. Yep, session just started, so I know they're gonna have their hands full, a lot going on this year, like every year. All right, that'll take us down to item H, public presentations for items not on the agenda. Did we have anyone online, Liz, that was signed up or?
Hands raised online.
Okay. Take us to item A, item I, committee and advisory board reports. I don't see any on the agenda tonight. So that'll take us to item J, administrative reports. These are going to be the quarterly reports. And the first one up tonight is going to be the finance report.
And Mr. Mayor, I apologize. Jan was not able to make it this evening, but that report is on page 17 of the packet. And if you guys have any questions or if you want me to go through it real quickly, I'm happy to do so. And I can take any questions back to Jan that you may have.
Okay, I'll give everyone a few minutes to take a quick peek at that if you haven't already seen it. Yeah, it literally seems like we just finished our budget cycle and we're already halfway through this cycle and coming up on the next one here. So you can see all of our expenditures and revenues are all starting to creep up there towards towards where they should be for this time of year.
Yes, and nothing too surprising so far. Harbor does typically run a little bit behind, but that's because of the annual billing in February. Dock, the net effect at this point is in the negative, but that's because when the report's presented at the end of the month, there's already a payroll into it, but that billing period isn't in it. So overall, everything seems to be running just like you said, where it should be. And no great surprises.
Okay, and then you guys are getting ready for annual audit again. Audit prep's going on now.
Yep, that's underway right now. And we should have that report back mid-February, hopefully, if everything goes smoothly. And mid to end of February. Sorry, I can't speak tonight.
Okay, fantastic. All right, anyone have any questions or comments on the finance report tonight? All right. that will take us down to the Harbor Masters report. And I see it looks like we have Layla on tonight.
Well, good evening, Mayor and Council. So this report looks a little boring, but been working with the Clean Harbors program and we're still on track. Everything's going in the right direction for a spring certification. A lot of what we're doing now is just signage and the little dotting the I's and crossing the T's. Since writing this report, we have signed up a few employees to be able to access the Vector Solutions through our insurance company. And we actually have a few that are pretty excited about this training opportunity. So hopefully that works out well for everybody. The Holding Corporation annual report was completed today and ready to go out in the mail first thing in the morning. It's always nice to get that one done for the year. Jackaloff, I checked it yesterday. There's little snow, little ice, but kind of the same as it has been. No real changes out there. That's about all I've got. Any questions?
Thanks, Layla. Any questions, comments from anyone on council?
I have one question. I don't know if it's the right time to ask it, but how do we collect the revenue off of the Jackaloff Bay dock? I mean, how is that accomplished?
Through the mayor, excellent question. We do not yet. It is in code that we can. But currently we don't collect any revenue for that infrastructure at this point. Now,
But in the future, we will. Is that the
yeah,
idea?
yeah, that's the
We're
intent.
gonna have an expense here to making it all happen, and somewhere it's got to come back to us.
Yeah, so that would be part of an upcoming fee schedule discussion. Maybe not this year since we're still waiting for the new dock to be built. I mean, it's up to you guys ultimately, but I think the intent was that when the new dock is built to implement a fee schedule and then be able to collect fees for the use of that facility.
One of the things that at rural airports where you have transit parking, they have a building there that you're supposed to report in, and there's a box there to drop in an envelope or money into the deal to pay for the transit parking or way. It might be something we could look at in the same way rather than have, because anybody can come and go out there and you're not going to know it, and they use the facility.
Thank you.
All right, anyone else? Any questions, comments on the Harbor Masters report?
Mr. Mayor, if I may?
Yeah.
I was just gonna bring up, she put in the second paragraph here that we formed a safety committee. And so if anybody had any questions on that, that's part of our insurance had a merger in this last year. It went into effect on July 1, 2025. And as part of that merger, they have a new set of requests in order to receive a discount on your insurance that lead back to safety and safe measures within the community and the organization. And so one is to have a safety committee, and thankful to Layla for joining that committee. It's her, me, and Helly, the SVFD admin assistant. So the three of us are just tackling and making sure that it was a great meeting. We actually met with a individual from our insurance firm, and he reminded us again, these are already things that we are probably doing, but just making sure that we're tracking, the different trainings and meetings and things that we're doing to uphold safety in the organization, and then forward it forward to them by the middle of April. In order to get that discount. So she's working hard to help to keep us on our schedule for that. And he was right. I mean, we do have most of it already, but there's just a couple of things, and safety committee is one of them. So thank you so much, Layla, for helping with that.
Thank you.
All right, thanks for the expanded comments on that, Heidi. Appreciate that. All right, Layla, thank you. Appreciate the report tonight.
Everybody have a good evening. We'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, take care. All right, next one will be our Public Works report. Looks like we have Riley on the line tonight.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep, got you loud and clear, Riley.
All right. Thanks for having me. So our team's just been taking care of our regular seasonal duties, like snow removal and sanding the roads when the weather requires it, as well as maintaining city infrastructure. We've completed quite a few important tasks this quarter, including quickly locating and repairing the significant water main leak on Vista Avenue. We troubleshooted an issue at the fire hall with the lights on the exterior of the building not turning on at night. We're getting that fixed. As well as the back security lights on the public works shop that were shining into some windows. We replaced those to address concerns. We had a CAT technician come down and he serviced the new grader, make sure our equipment's in peak condition, as well as getting our new street broom ready to go for when we need to use that. We did a temporary repair on the back door of the fuel and lube building. It was damaged by the windstorm we had recently. We've been doing regular maintenance at the water plant, such as fixing glycol leaks and replacing some breather valves. And as the weather gets warmer, we're planning on carrying out a system-wide hydrant flush, as well as digging for a new water and sewer connection on Cedar Street. There are 2 hydrants that we plan on rebuilding on Airport and Young Street to restore those back to full functionality. And the raw water transmission line project is coming up soon. And that's all I have for this report. Anyone have any questions?
Okay, thanks, Riley. Any questions or comments on the Public Works report tonight from anyone? Well, looks like you're off the hook tonight. So appreciate the report. Glad to hear that everything seems to be going well with the equipment and water treatment plant and all that. So yep, keep up the good work. We appreciate what you guys do.
All right, thank you, Mayor.
I think Jack might have a question.
Riley, I have a question. On the motor grader, what was the repair that was needed on it?
There was an electrical harness on the transmission control module that had water in it, and it was all corroded up. So that part of that harness got replaced and a new computer got put on it by the technician, and it resolved all the problems that we were having.
Okay, yeah, thanks.
Great, thanks, Jack.
And so,
Heidi, did you have something else?
yeah, sorry.
Yes. No, you're totally good.
Give a shout out to Riley as well, because he has stepped up big since he's been with the city, just over a little over 6 months, in fixing equipment, fixing facility repairs and needs, water and sewer system, learning how to rebuild fire hydrants. And then recently, as I've mentioned before, stepping up pretty big at the water treatment plant as the lead operator there now, doing really well. I did put it in the city manager's report, but I'll just shout out now since he's online with us, that last week he had Jordan Cameron with Alaska Rural Water Association here helping. It was a really informative session from what I've heard back, specifically from Jordan. I was impressed with all the questions and intrigue that Riley had, was really diving in, figuring things out and definitely taking charge and taking responsibility up there. Sounds like he's got some good supports behind him between Jordan and our Ryan, our new circuit rider through DEC, as well as Todd Cook still in Homer. So I really want to thank Riley for stepping up and taking that responsibility on, and for everything that he continues to do in Public Works.
I appreciate it, Heidi.
Come on.
Yeah, also, I just want to just a huge shout out to you guys for that Christmas time. I happen to live on Vista Avenue, and that was just miserable, and you guys worked around the clock with that and right at Christmas. So thank you so much for seeing it through, and we really love being able to drink water from that. So thank you.
All right,
Yeah,
fantastic.
thank
All
you,
right.
Riley.
All right, thanks everyone. Appreciate all the comments, shout outs. So thanks, Riley. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
All right, that'll conclude our administrative reports this evening. That'll take us to item K, public hearings. We have none. Item L, unfinished business. We have none. Item M, new business. None scheduled for tonight. Item N, city manager's report. So you're up, Heidi.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a little rundown here in the laydown, starting page 3, update on Jackwell Bay Dock. We had a meeting this week with MARAD, and they assured us that they are getting ready to issue a FONSI, which is a finding of no significant impact for our environmental assessment. They were hoping to get that out by the end of last week, but I'm going to give them a couple weeks to do that. And as soon as we do receive that, even though the grant agreement hasn't been signed, we can still issue out the design build RFP as long as we don't sign anything before the grant is executed, and hopefully move forward with rebuilding that infrastructure. We're still anticipating that there might be a delay to spring 2027, but we will see what comes out with that RFP with those bid proposals. With the uplands, I did forward the comments from council pertaining to the entry authorization regarding parking, whether that's still an allowed use, if there are guidelines pertaining to the requirement of the cleaning up of the site, and also signaling the city's intent to complete a phase 1 environmental assessment. I just submitted those last week, and I haven't heard a response back. I'll follow up again with them later this week. And as long as those responses look great, look forward to moving forward with that entry authorization with them, as well as recommending or sponsoring a ordinance for appropriating additional funding that may be needed for the appraisal survey, and that potentially that environmental assessment depending on when we get that done. It might be next fiscal year or this fiscal year. We'll have to look at that schedule. But that should be coming your guys' way in a mid-year budget adjustment. Raw water transmission line, as you heard, that's moving forward. Public Works has been available to answer questions and make sure there's access up to that area. The East Road Services has been over a couple of times and has been up there, getting ready for the project to start in May. The University of Alaska did let me know at the end of last week that they were preparing the easement for signature here this week. So that's exciting. That will mean that we can move that utility line into the roadway, and it'll be a little bit more accessible for the future years to come. The fuel facility improvements project, which is the SFL roof replacement project, draft RFP did go out in December. We've had a few questions. There was some concern regarding, because it went out as a design build, whether engineering drawings had to be presented with the bid proposal, and just a few other questions. So we did respond, and Liz was in the process of sending. Did that go out today? If not, tomorrow morning, those answers to those questions will go out first thing. We have an individual planning on doing a site visit, and there's been some interested parties. It seems like that engineering and inspection aspect of the job is a little bit of a holdup. So if that continues to be an issue, we may have to withdraw the RFP and reissue it as a design bid build project, which delays it a little bit, unfortunately, but I feel confident that we are making progress moving forward, and hopefully we'll get somebody signed on here in the near future. And the next page towards the bottom, update on the repeater. The fire hall purchased a new repeater. It came in, the patch was done on the tower in Homer, and there was an issue with the new repeater one that was after it was installed, where we could hear Homer, but they couldn't hear us, or vice versa. One of those. So the new repeater didn't work. We have since received a loan repeater. It was installed this morning, works great. The new repeater was sent to home or sent back to Anchorage to get worked on, and then should be coming down to be installed. But for now, the loaner repeater is installed. We are back to being able to communicate directly with Homer. There for a while, they were calling our dispatch chief directly whenever there was a call, which is not the greatest way to operate, but was working. And we would like to not have to have her do that anymore. So we're thankful for the loan. And number 21, the cybersecurity project. Council appropriated 16,680 in funds for this project. And there was a delay with storms and holidays and things that have been happening the last couple of months, but I'm happy to report that all the parts are in, and that is scheduled to happen the first week of February. Alaska Technical Solutions will be joining us next week and completing that project for us. Some other activity updates. I told you, Mr. Mayor, I would get back to you about the status of the MPV generator. It does remain powered down, so that power switch is off and requires to be turned on prior to the automatic transfer switch operating in a power outage. We chose to continue going with this method after just evaluating the fact that even with a trickle charger, we don't really want to wear down that panel. And as well as when that automatic transfer switch does kick in, and the power comes back on in this building, one of the fire hall doors automatically opens. And so until we resolve that issue, we're going to leave it off. That way somebody has to physically come. It's a very simple process. Flip the switch, everything else kicks into gear and automatically works. And then they can make sure and they go and close the door.
Yeah.
So in the middle of the night, our door is not opening and the heat doesn't go. So that's where we're at with that. We did submit our legislative priority requests that council approved in December. So those have been sent off to the state. No word yet if there's going to be opportunity to submit FY27 congressional direct spending requests through Murkowski or any of our other representatives' offices, but we keep our senators' offices, but we keep our eyes open for that. Comprehensive plan draft update. I need to slow down. Sorry. There was a community meeting on January 14th. It was all right with attendance. It wasn't a huge crowd, but there was some really valuable input that was provided from the people who did attend. Councilmember Barber was here. We're thankful for that. Had some great input. And we also put out a survey requesting comments that has just a more of a template form if that's more convenient for people. And that comment period closes on February 2nd. And then those findings will be presented at an upcoming planning commission meeting. Anything that needs to be incorporated can be incorporated. It'll come back to council, and then potentially there'll be a public hearing for it to be adopted. So that's moving ahead. Susan B. English School pool update. I did see that the Seldovia Recreational Service Area posted an agenda for a special meeting tomorrow night at 5:15. So that topic will be on that agenda as well, along with their FY27 budget overall. If anybody's interested in talking about pool and SURSA budget, that's a great time to go to discuss that with them. We also have a meeting planned with Mayor Machicki tomorrow morning. That'll be myself and our SURSA chair, Liz Diamond, who will be meeting with him and just talking about the borough's involvement and where they see SURSA as part of this process. So hopefully that'll be a great conversation, and there should be more information available for tomorrow night's meeting. It is open, by the way, the pool. I don't know. So,
I was going to add that in there. As of today, we had our first school PE.
yes, so super exciting. I may or may not have already filled out a couple rental forms for it for the teams traveling in this weekend. So that's an aside, just switching hats real quick, Booster Club hat. Come watch the basketball games. And it looks like you have a hand raised. Mr.
Yeah, you got a question?
Yeah, I was just wondering if the conversation with Mr. Machiki is something that we could, be a fly on the wall for. We don't have to be active participants, but is that something that we could get a link for as council members, or is that an available option for us? Or
I think at this point, I am your fly on the wall because it's really more of a Sursa Borough meeting.
okay.
So,
So at what point are we taking this conversation to the Sursa, at what point are we bringing this conversation to the greater community? Because we've been kicking this can down the road for quite a while, since I worked at the SOC in 2018. And we're all very passionate about our pool, obviously, and I would love to see what kind of solutions we could come up with sooner than later. I'm just curious how quickly we can get this into the greater public's the forefront of their minds, as far as, because it's a big lift, isn't it? Changing that.
through the mayor, excellent question. That is actually the whole point of the conversation tomorrow morning, is how does the borough want to be involved? How can Sursa be involved? And getting support for bringing that to the public.
Sure. Good. Sounds good.
Another update on the water treatment plant. We already discussed that, so I won't go any further into that. They're moving ahead. There was some technical issues with an electrical panel that they were able to troubleshoot, and still some remaining issues, some minor issues that we're looking at hiring a local technician to come over and repair. And Jordan Cameron's been a huge asset in helping make those connections. So we're thankful for that. SVFD update, besides the repeater, they had an executive board meeting last week. The FY27 budget is on their minds now. So trying to get that incorporated into the city of Seldovia budget so that it can be approved by city council in the upcoming fiscal year, or for the upcoming fiscal year. They're also moving ahead now with their new logo design, using the same artists that we used for the city logo. So just giving it a little character, giving the otter a little character with the hat and stethoscope, and maybe some fun things to bring out the fire department and the EMS department operations in that logo. And otherwise, they discussed some general operations. And I'm not sure if we shared before that Byron McCord is now the EMS medical director. So if I haven't shared that, I apologize. He came on, and we're really excited to have him helping out with the department more. So there'll be a planning commission update. The commission met at the beginning of January, and they have begun discussions on an alternative development pathway or pathways, looking at what, if anything is feasible, what's feasible, what makes sense for the community, for individuals who may want to develop in areas that don't currently have access to water and sewer, specifically that Malcolm and Spillum subdivision. And upcoming council business, I just wanted to jot out just a rough draft of some of those things that we've discussed, as well as some upcoming budget work sessions to work through, looking at an ordinance introduction for aligning the regular election date with the borough and the state. It was slated to be introduced at this meeting, but we held off, knowing that the borough is going through this discussion right now, just so that we're making sure we're not putting the cart before the horse. Let them get through their process, and if there's any changes that we need to make, we can make sure we make those, instead of having to go back and do it a second time. as well as that ordinance introduction for the mid-year budget adjustment. We've been talking about the spray foam installation, now Jack Loft, the dam PSI unfortunately was budgeted in FY 25, but by the time it was billed and paid out, it impacted FY 26 instead. And then, yeah, I think that's what we have for that mid-year budget adjustment. And then, of course, some work sessions for the budget itself. If there are other specific areas of the budget you would like to talk about, certainly let us know, and then we can make sure to get that scheduled in, but it should be a busy couple of months. I'm sorry, guys. Please let us know if standalones work better or if you want to have meetings before the regular council meeting, whatever works best for your guys' schedule. I really appreciate your time on these matters. And lastly, I didn't include that AML winter session is coming up here in February. So I don't know if anybody on council wanted to travel to Juneau or feels like it would be pertinent to have representation in Juneau. It doesn't have to be during the winter AML winter session. It could be another time if we felt like that was, like I said, pertinent, but just wanted to bring that up in case there was a desire to attend that winter session or anything in Juneau itself. And that begins, looks like February 18th. So please let us know, or February 17th, sorry, February 17th through the 19th. Please let me know if you have any interest. And that's what I have, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Heidi. Any questions or comments for the city manager on her report tonight?
Heidi, when Mr. Willie Dunn was here from the Kenai Borough, I asked a question if out of all taxes collected, if on the east side of Kachemak Bay of Seldovia proportionally, and I haven't got an answer back on that. Is that something, have you heard any feedback? Or he said he was going to get back to us, so I don't know what he came up with.
Through the mayor, thank you for the reminder. I have not heard anything, but I'm putting it in my calendar right now to follow up with Mr. Dunn tomorrow.
Mr. Dunn did tell me that he was still working on getting that figures a couple of days ago.
Great. Any other questions? Comments? Okay, and for the record, Meg has joined us in person, so we do have a full council. Thanks, Meg. Let's see. So that'll conclude item N. Item O, informational items not requiring action. We don't have any. Item P, executive session. Looks like we do have one. We have an action item on here, and I would need a motion to enter into executive session based on what we have here.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to move to enter into executive session pursuant to AS 44.62.310A-C2 for matters subjects that tend to prejudice to the reputation and character of any person, provided that person may request a public discussion for the city manager annual performance review and invite Heidi Gagel in.
Okay.
Mr.
will
Mayor, I
second that.
second that. Oh, sorry.
Hey,
Go
go
ahead,
ahead,
Mike.
Jackie.
No,
I
you
second that. I
All
second
right.
that, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, so we have a motion by Keith Lee to enter executive session. We have a second by Taylor. Any further discussion on the motion before we vote? Harmony, do you have a question, or is that hand still from last time?
It's just still up.
Okay, sounds good. All right, no questions, and we'll go ahead and vote on the motion to enter into executive session this evening and inviting in the city manager, Heidi Gagel. All those in favor, Langbart,
Aye.
Coleman,
Aye.
Taylor,
Aye.
Peyton,
Aye.
Barber,
Right.
Keith Lee.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes 6 in the affirmative. It looks like, so do we have a separate link set up then? Okay.
Yeah, we do have a separate link set up, so we'll just take a moment here to.
Okay, and Jackie and Harmony, you guys both have that separate link.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, so you'd sign out of this one, sign back in on that one while we're getting set up in here, and then we will join up here shortly. With that, we'll go ahead, stand in recess of our regular meeting and enter into executive session.
And then the wrong one. Are you there, Liz? Because I have no video of you guys.
You're just gonna go in the very old school way.
Okay, go in the old school way. Do your magic, Liz. Oh.
Test the audio.
Hopefully not. Are YouTube links back up and running?
There we go.
Okay.
All right, you're back on.
All right, we're back on. We got mics on, all that. All right, we are going to come out of our recess that we were in for executive session. With that, I will look for a motion to officially bring us out of executive session.
I'll make that motion to bring us out of executive session.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion by Barber to bring us out of executive session. We have a second by Keithley. Any further discussion before we vote?
Nope.
Okay, hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote on bringing us out of executive session. All those in favor, Langbart,
Aye.
Coleman,
Aye.
Taylor,
Aye.
Peyton,
Bye.
Barber,
Uh,
Keithley.
Aye.
Okay, 6 in the affirmative and 0 against. Okay, we are officially out of executive session. At this time, we were in executive session to pursuant to 4462.310. And we had no action taken in executive session. With that, I will go ahead and look for a motion.
All right, I would like to make a motion per section 2.1 of the city manager's contract for council to authorize a 5% increase to the city manager's salary as a result of an above satisfactory performance review.
I'll go ahead and second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Keithley to have a under section 2.1 of the manager's contract to authorize a 5% increase in the manager's salary per her contract, with a second by Langbart. Any further discussion before we vote? Okay, hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote. All those in favor, Langbart,
Aye.
Coleman,
Aye.
Taylor,
Aye.
Peyton,
Bye.
Barber,
uh,
Keithley.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes, 6 in the affirmative, 0 opposed. All right, thank you, everyone. Appreciate that. That'll take us down to item Q, council and mayor comments concerning items not on the agenda. Langbart,
No comment.
Coleman,
No comment.
Taylor,
No comment.
Peyton,
Good night.
Okay.
Barber,
No comment.
Keithley.
Comment.
Wow. Okay. All right. Yeah, thanks for everyone coming tonight. We ran a little bit long, but not too bad. So we got some business taken care of. Appreciate that. Our next meeting is going to be a regular meeting held on Monday, February 9th, 2026. And I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
I
Make a
move.
motion to adjourn.
We have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion to adjourn with a second. Any objection? Hearing none, we are adjourned. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Peace, homies.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Heidi. Thanks, Liz. Thanks, you guys.